The day a demon lord wiped out everyone. Wait, what? What happened? Let's have a look.
Guys, how do I get to Ironforge?
That voice.
Looking for healer for stockades.
Oh, I'll join you.
Oh yeah, that's how it usually goes in WoW Classic at least.
Dude, let's go Camp Court and Stranglethorn.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
go.
hell yeah.
What the heck?
Ah, finally. Man, this new game's been great. I can't wait to quest in Darkshore next.
If you will be able to. You better run right now.
6th of March, 2005. The day Lord Khazix was kited and pulled to the city of Stormwind, marking one of the most notorious World of Warcraft events that created its own tradition. Kazakhs Invasion wiped out countless of players' lives and left the Alliance capital of Stormwind in ruins.
This is what I love, those kind of events. Like, I loved the one for like Wrath of the Lich King Classic, where we had like all those ghouls and how they can infect players and then they turn into ghouls and stuff. I think it's actually fun if Blizzard adds this kind of stuff into the game. Like, I usually enjoy the events. And even the one with like for Dragonflight with those sort of portals with those elemental thingies and stuff. I actually thought this was also pretty cool.
Warcraft events that created its own tradition. Kazakhs Invasion wiped out countless of players' lives and left the Alliance capital of Stormwind in ruins, which would usually be players' safest location to reside in.
Usually,
The
yeah.
day started out as any other. Low levels were running back to the city to learn their new spells. The auction house was bustling, and raiders were setting up for another all-nighter. Everything was ordinary, apart from a thought that entered the mind of one or several scheming players. What if I pull something very dangerous to the Alliance to mess with them? But before we get into that, ad time. Are you tired of playing games you used to love but now have become a total mess and you keep asking yourself where it all went wrong? Well, I have one question for you.
What?
Do you guys not have phones? Because Raid Channel
I
Legends
do.
is here to
It's
drag you
here.
out of your pit of despair. Raid celebrated its 4th anniversary just last month. Theme of the celebration is dinner party, and Raid asked me which champions I would invite. So I have to go with Cephalia, a useful support who can always be on hand in case someone gets a boo-boo. And you know I gotta bring in Glycea, the ice queen, along. Keep the drinks nice and chill. Can't forget about Bistofus. He'll be able to both cut up and cook the meats at the grill at the same time with
Okay.
his flaming blades. Finally, I gotta bring in Gintoro.
That one
who's
looks,
all about
wow, really
prolonged
cool.
encounters. He'll be perfect for keeping the celebration going all night long. But there's more! Live Arena PvP will be coming in Raid's newest update with a pick and ban phase.
I wonder
where you
how
go
PvP
against
is
others
there,
for lots
actually.
of amazing rewards. Use my QR code or the link in the description and receive Kellen the Shriek. Download Raid Channel Legends right now! Now back to Kazakhs Invasion. How did it happen? This method of messing with other players wasn't exactly unheard of. The term training was popularized in EverQuest, where mobs could follow you forever after you had pulled them, as they followed close behind.
But that usually doesn't work in WoW. If I remember correct, like each time I pull something, like, it doesn't matter which kind of rare boss it is. Usually their distance is not that long, unless there was like one that was like bugged or something. I don't see how it's possible to even pull anything into our capital city, because their range is not that long usually. Like, you aggro them, you take a few steps back, they're still there, you take another few steps, they de-aggro, they just go back to their spawn location.
Similar to train wagons. People
Interesting.
used this technique to grief other players that thought they were otherwise safe from harm. So, over at WoW, players back then also noticed that creatures could technically chase after you forever as well. And
No.
a very good class for this would be a... Hunter. Of course, the root of all of Azeroth's problems, I guess. Or any
There's
ranged
like this
class,
one
preferably,
skill,
as
right?
you would have to always stay within a certain range of the creature and not run too far away from its radius, and you had to continuously damage it every now and then to retain aggro. Usually people would apply this tactic in order to kite out strong
Oh,
foes
that's
and
how you
eventually
can do
slay
it,
them.
true.
But what if
But you
this
say in
was
range.
applied to something much more dangerous with malicious intent? And this is where Kazakh comes in. He was a pretty important guy lore-wise, as he was tasked to secure the blasted lands for the Legion, primarily occupying the Tainted Scar, and eventually would be the one to reopen the Dark Portal, thus beginning the Burning Crusade
Wow, there's this lore behind him.
Gameplay-wise, he was one of the few world bosses, which were powerful elites that, although had the strength of instance raid bosses, could be instead located in the open world. Kazakh himself, though, was seen as fairly simple by players back then. His melee attacks weren't too strong, and neither were his spells really. For coordinated high-level groups, it was a pretty straightforward experience. Essentially, most of the action Kazakh would face is him getting pushed around and bullied by raiders for his item drops. They laughed at him, but he never forgot. His rage would continue boiling within him in anticipation to exact his eventual revenge.
Wow.
The mastermind orchestrators knew that. They saw Kazakh's potential, and they considered his potency in an environment full of level 15s in their Westfall leveling gear, along with some random, constantly respawning NPCs. Thus, they appeared before him on that fateful day and would begin their operation. They attacked Kazakh to draw his attention, and without delay he would begin his relentless pursuit. The group then slowly began making their way to their destination of Stormwind, as they would have to make their way out of blasted lands into...
Well, you can see that he wasn't weak. 2 in the group already died. Like, this guy's like at almost half the health. Wait, he's a shadow priest or something?
Way to their destination of Stormwind, as they would have to make their way out of blasted lands, into Swamp of Sorrows, through Deadwind Pass, into Duskwood,
That's
and
a long
finally
distance.
into Eowyn Forest. Those traveling in these areas may have been able to spot the enormous demon.
You know what I'm like wondering? Like, look how far he is here. What actually happens if you mess up and you get too far from him, so he's no longer being on you on aggro, and you have like reached that certain distance where he like de-aggroes and just walks back? Will he walk back all the way? So imagine someone does this just for fun, and they have like your guild, sort of like make a row somewhere there, like very far, and you actually watch him how he walks back, but you're not waiting in the same zone, but like 1 or 2 zones in between. Yeah, I actually wonder if he like really manually walks back, or if he actually gets sort of like phased or teleported back. Because that would be weird. Like, imagine like they mess up and he walks all the way back on foot.
Forest. Those traveling in these areas may have been able to spot the enormous demon making its way to Stormwind, but could only watch as Kazakh finally made his first step in the Alliance capital.
But there's so many places he
Thus,
dies quick, doesn't
his
he?
rampage would begin. But there were good reasons as to why Kazakh specifically was by far the most dangerous boss to be pulled to Stormwind in this situation.
Somehow?
Again, for a coordinated high-level group, he may have posed marginal threat, but if we take a look at his abilities again, we can begin seeing the concerns, as with, for example, his ability to heal for 70,000 health whenever someone around him died.
Shit!
And not only
many
that,
low-level
but
players.
he also had Shadow Bolt Volley, which hit every target in a massive range around him with a projectile, and it would also pass through terrain. This would melt anyone who was lacking in levels and gear, and aggro every NPC in the area. Oh, and not
NPCs
only that,
too.
he would also enter Supreme Mode 3 minutes after he had been pulled, which would cause him to spam his Shadow Bolt Volley every second. And yeah, it goes without saying that by the time he would reach Stormwind, he already would have been enraged for quite a while. Due to Kazakh's...
But how did they solve this issue then? So did they use Zones chat and say every low-level player go away, now we elites, we're gonna wipe this, like we're gonna kill this boss or what? Or did like a game master appear and he just, I don't know, removed him somehow or something? Like, that's something I'm actually wondering now. How did they solve this? This is very exciting. It seems like very, very fun. It makes you want to do something similar, but I don't think it's even possible, right? Maybe they patched him or something, or and if not, now we are already in, like, at least in Classic, in Wrath of the Lich King era, so probably like players are crazy OP, like higher level cap and stuff, so yeah, I don't know. Retail's definitely impossible because you can just one-shot him. That's actually funny, like that was a cool idea by whoever pulled this one. And yeah, by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. But yeah, I love this. This was brilliant, what they did.
He already would have been enraged for quite a while.
Yeah.
Due to Kazakh's constant healing, players quickly realized their efforts to attack him would amount to nothing.
Yeah.
As he began his destruction through the city. It wasn't only the low-geared players constantly healing him up due to them getting obliterated in mere seconds. It was also the constantly respawning rabbit guards. Even when facing this world-ending
So Soundchat
foe,
does not work.
they just couldn't fight their primal instincts of aggroing onto him.
That bloke is being highly illegal. We should probably take him to the stockade.
Sir, I don't think...
But not yet. He's a bit too far away from me to care.
But when he does get a bit closer...
Sir, we really should retreat. I have a family.
Ah, here he comes, boy. Lock him up.
Makes sense.
Attack!
Ouch.
People would attempt to desperately scatter. Those who had just logged in or just arrived at the city would be welcomed by a sea of corpses and
Yeah,
would soon join
what the heck's
them.
happening?
Players
The Horde
would
is
also
attacking.
try to desperately pull Kazakh to the front.
I wouldn't actually be surprised if like someone logged in, they saw this, and I think it's like a freaking... Like, if you're on like a PvP server, they would probably think, oh, it's a freaking Horde that freaking attacked Stormwind. Not again. Is that some sort of PvP guild here?
By a sea of corpses and would soon join them. Players would also try to desperately pull Kazakh to the throne room in
Wow.
hopes that Bolvar might be able to save them. But that also turned out to be futile. For the
Bolvar
most part,
died.
Bolvar would just sit there, staring at them, maybe even enjoying it, as Khazix
Enjoying
would litter the castle with skeletons. Players could only look on from their ghost forms as the unstoppable demon ravaged through Stormwind. But that was when Azeroth's final line of defense would be summoned.
Maybe in one of the expansions there could be this big bald guy. And hey, don't you have pending player tickets? What?
99 plus. Please help
Oh.
Big Demon Man.
Guess I'll log in and check what's up.
Red Loaf. What a name. Wow, epic battle starts.
Oh, you're not supposed to be here.
Boom.
And thus, Lord Khazix
Fire
was
was
vanquished
spread all
and
over
returned back
Storm.
to a tainted scar. The players reflected on this horrible tragedy that had befallen them that day.
That was awesome! Yo, what the hell? That was amazing!
Yeah, let's pull him again! What? And naturally decided to keep recreating it. History was made, and the tradition of pulling creatures to player hubs had been born. People would now continue to pull everything they were able to various popular
This
locations.
is fun.
Looking for more for Azurgos!
Hey, Azurgos is right here!
Oh, that's nice. Wait, what?
It's over.
What in oblivion is that?
At least this time players could coordinate and work together to bring some of these foes down. Players would have their fun pulling world bosses to various places until eventually Blizzard would implement a patch which made it so these world bosses were leashed to their respective areas, meaning
Yeah, that's
they
how
could
it
no
is
longer
now.
be pulled outside of them. Later down the line during the TBC Dark Portal Opens event, lore-wise, Mr. Kazakh would leave to be a nuisance over at Hellfire Peninsula, in Outlands, and in his place he appointed High Lord Cruel, who, gameplay-wise and look-wise, was basically the same as him, and he would randomly decide to pay a visit to various places across Azeroth and wreak havoc upon anyone unfortunate enough to find themselves in his path. This was clearly an event that paid an homage to the Kazakh incident, as in this example, he was just spawned out of thin air in front of Orgrimmar and thus invading it. He can't let the
Nice.
Alliance be the only ones getting obliterated, right? Then, much later down the line, as many of you know, we had World of Warcraft Classic, which released on patch 1.12. That was sadly a patch where Khazix and other world bosses had now been leashed to their areas, so
Ah.
it meant players couldn't recreate the exact same chaos as before.
That sucks,
But,
right?
of course, there were still some pretty good alternatives, and players are pretty stubborn. The most popular had to be Teramis the Devourer, again located in the Blasted Lands.
He's
Even
not
though
so
he
strong,
wasn't
right?
nearly as powerful as Khazix, his AoE ability still made him quite the threat, especially early on in Classic where people were rushing to pull him. Regardless, Kazakhs Invasion left its mark on WoW's history as one of the deadliest
For sure.
incidents to ever unfold. I mean,
I love it.
this guy alone was infinitely more potent than the whole Legion forces in the Legion expansion. Those guys were so bad at invading that by the end of it, we ended up invading them back. And this guy over here just wiped out the Alliance in a single day. Go figure. With that, players would continue living on happily ever after, knowing that no other horrible and unforeseen tragedy could
Even
possibly
our
befall
server
them
was named
once
after
again.
him.
Oh.
What's that? Ah, Corrupted Blood incident. Yeah, I know this one.
If a horrifying plague was unleashed upon your favorite video game completely out of the blue, who would you think would be responsible for this evil? Sylvanas? Blizzard? No, much worse. Hunters.
Hunters. Yeah, that was really good. But I love this kind of stuff where like players discover something that's not supposed to be, and it's like some really crazy OP stuff, like pulling a freaking boss that self-heals on kill and has like lots of AoE skills to a city, so this boss becomes literally immortal. Like you need to somehow one-shot or two-shot him before he can even heal up. And yeah, it wasn't possible back then, like 2005. Oh wow. You know, I actually love this. I wish I would have experienced something like that, but it's no more possible to do something like that, even like Wrath of the Lich King Classic, so I guess I will never experience this. But yeah, were you one of those people back in the day that experienced this? Let me know in the comment section if you have experienced anything like that before. But yeah, that was really, really cool. I wish I could be part of this. Yeah, I actually really love checking out Captain Grimm's videos. They're usually very, very funny, very interesting. And we learn so much about lore even. That was crazy. I actually... Like one thing I have like attempted a few times, and this was when I was like leveling characters, where I put like rares to like certain locations and have NPCs help me kill this rare so I can get like items from it, like cool items, right? In like Wrath of the Lich King Classic, for example. But each time I pull something, like a rare or boss, and I walk somewhere, I just walk some steps, and it freaking de-aggroes and returns to its place. So yeah, I guess they patched everything, yeah. But I tried a few times, because I wanted to have an easy fight, but it didn't work. Easy fight, good gear? Nah, sucks. But yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.